All right. Okay. Welcome to this very exciting panel. This is my very first time like talking to multiple of my students and alumni at the same time, and like, yo, this is an amazing panel. These are all students who have gone through either Modern Calligraphy 101 or Modern Calligraphy 201 or both, and now are professional calligraphers. Like, calligraphy is their main profession. So this really, I mean, I call it like the panel of possibility, because yo, you will hear from each and every one of them. We're not saying it's easy. We're not saying that it's common, but it's totally doable. And I know from my own calligraphy journey, like I learned calligraphy from Angie at Angelique Inc. And then she was so kind to sit down with me and just talk to me about what it was like to have a calligraphy business and make a living. And only when I saw that that was possible could I then go after it and dream about it. Like, you only go after what you believe is possible. So that's what I wanted to present here, is as a conversation with these four amazing women to just open up that possibility a little bit for you all. Okay, so we're just gonna go around. I forgot the order that I told them I would go in. I think it was Melissa first. And I'll just have each one of them, hi. Just like tell us a little bit about your calligraphy journey.
Yes, so hi, I'm Melissa at Chronic Letters. I started calligraphy right when the pandemic hit, so March 2020. And I really started after trying to, sorry, you might hear my puppy.
Oh, real life, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so I was just trying to find a creative outlet after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2018. And having basically my everyday career being taken away from me. I needed something creative to kind of just help me deal with all of that. But I didn't think I could do calligraphy because my hands are very affected by my illness. But you said that if you shake and you can't control it, just make it part of your style. And you didn't say that to me, but I heard you say that, and it made me feel like I can do this. So I jumped right in, and I jumped with like everything I had. I became obsessed with it. I ran through your course in half the time in Modern Calligraphy 101. And right away, I saw that there was a possibility for me to find my purpose with calligraphy and being creative with it. And starting a business and start slowly replacing the income that I lost when I got sick. And now, like, I'm growing that business, and I've also acquired a new business in January where I do custom engraved jewelry, and I get to combine my calligraphy with the custom jewelry. So I offer, like, I design custom monograms that I get to engrave on jewelry. So now I went from nothing to now two businesses that I kind of intertwine together sometimes. Sometimes they're not related at all. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've met some amazing people that are some of my closest friends now. I've met an amazing community, both locally and broader. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Oh my God. That's so exciting. Okay, and Melissa is at Chronic Letters. We're gonna give a chance for everyone to like tell you where to find them and everything, but like, oh my God, thank you so much for that introduction. Okay, we're gonna go to Shaochen of Monstera Gold.
I don't know how to follow that up. I love hearing your story, Melissa.
With your truth.
So I'm Shaochen. I picked up a brush pen for the first time in fall of 2018. That was my first calligraphy class. I took Shinah's class the following spring. So it was like April 2019. And I picked up calligraphy because like I was in this very stressful, high fast-paced tech job. I was living in Silicon Valley, and there's just a lot of pressures. And startups are great, but also, you know, they're backed by VCs who have high expectations. And I was just kind of in a stressful place. And I found that calligraphy was so helpful for me to create this mindfulness that I couldn't really find anywhere else. I kind of had this like monkey mind, like hard to sleep. And calligraphy really helped kind of soothe that for me. Anyway, so in the spring of 2019, I had some like medical things that made me leave my job unexpectedly. And I never really thought about making calligraphy my business or a job. Like it wasn't really something that crossed my mind until that point when I was like, well, I don't want to just go to another job and be stressed out again and do the same thing. It's just going to be this vicious cycle. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to give myself 6 months, see where it goes. I was such a newbie. I took your Modern Calligraphy 201. And so that was like the extent of my skills. I'd like just started calligraphy, not even for 6 months, and then launched my business, Monstera Gold, in July of 2019. So I'm actually coming up on my 3rd year now, which is like crazy to think like July will be 3 years for me. And so since then, I've focused mostly on weddings. I also work with luxury brands who do on-site calligraphy. I've grown like a team of calligraphers that work with me sometimes. And then I also have an education side of my business that is under the umbrella like Calligraphy CEO. So if there's like a separate website and space for calligraphers who want to turn their like passion into a business. And I mostly focus on teaching other calligraphers how to become wedding calligraphers. So
yeah. Wow. And to be clear, by wedding calligrapher, Shaochen means not doing invitations and envelopes necessarily, which most people think of, but like there's a whole other area of wedding calligraphy, right?
Yeah, so not the stationer side as much, which requires a little bit more like graphic design background, but really like calligraphers who you kind of want to turn your work into like signage and like day of calligraphy and vow books and place cards and things like that.
Yeah. Just telling y'all, there's like a wide world of calligraphy out there, more than you think. The narrow. Okay, cool. So that's Shaochen of Monstera Gold. Let's hear from Jane, the Oxford calligrapher, because she is in Oxford and it's nighttime there.
Hi everyone, so I'm Jane Morton Driscoll, the Oxford calligrapher. As Shinah said, yeah, I'm in Oxford in the UK, so I chose to take Shinah's course from the UK instead of doing it here. There isn't as much calligraphy here, although it is getting more and more popular, so there are more and more calligraphers. So yeah, it was something that I stumbled across in, I think, in the same way as a lot of people do. My mental health wasn't great, and working a very stressful teaching job. I'd done a lot of the lockdown with a very young child at home, trying to teach online with no childcare, and it was just really stressful and horrible, and I needed something as an outlet. And then after a while I went off sick, which was a real shame, but I spent 3 days a week just writing and writing and writing and writing all the time, as much as I could, and really loved it, and decided to leave my teaching job and never went back, and this is me now. So so I do all sorts of kinds of calligraphy. This is now my 2nd year, and I spent the whole of the 1st year just dipping my toes into anything that I could. So I did some live Zoom course. I've got a little online course now, and I do like workshops, place cards, and gifts and cards, and did a sort of everything in my 1st year. And now I'm starting to get to that point where I'm really starting to understand what I enjoy the most, and what brings me the most joy, and what brings me sometimes the most money as well. I think that's important to kind of balance the two.
Oh yeah.
So now I'm starting to move a little bit more into the wedding industry than I was before. So I've had a really enjoyable contract, or I've been doing for a year, where I do all the place cards for Le Manoir Quatre Saisons, which is a really nice hotel, wedding venue, restaurant run by Raymond Blanc, and I've been doing that for nearly a year now. And that's been really, really great, and it's given me lots of opportunity to really kind of hone my skill and practice over a long period of time. And yeah, I just love it. I can do everything around my child, and I can choose when I want to get up and choose when I want to work, and yeah, it's just made my life a lot better. So yeah, that's me.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jane. That's exactly the path my business took. So I feel you there with the trying out everything and then like, oh, maybe not that. Oh, this is actually really profitable because it's a business. So as Shaochen at Calligraphy CEO will tell you, like really important to know. Okay, thank you so much, Jane. Laura from Gertie's Calligraphy.
It's funny that our stories are kind of similar, all in the same way, but a little, obviously a little different. I started calligraphy after my wedding. I did not know calligraphy. Obviously, I knew it existed. I didn't know you could make a business out of it. And I'd always been kind of creative as a kid, and I always said that accounting sucked all the creativity out of me. I was in accounting for over 20 years, and it's very stressful. I worked at a public company, a lot of deadlines, just a lot of stress. And after my wedding, for some reason, it was after the wedding that in 2019 that the stress hit. And I'm not sure if that was because, like the letdown of like, go, 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 we have to plan. And, it was a destination wedding. And so anyway, October 2019, I think is when I bought my first speedball kit. Yeah, well, I didn't know. Don't give me that look. I had no idea.
It's a terrible beginner kit.
I know. Now I know. Now I look back and I'm like, well, no wonder you couldn't write a letter. So anyway, I moved on very quickly from that. And that spring, I think it was that spring or that like January. I'm not sure when your class started, 101 started. So that's when I really kind of like got into it. And not that. By the end of 2020, I started Gertie's. Gertie's is my dad nicknamed me Gert. I don't know why. He doesn't know why. He's always called me Gert. And when I needed like an alter ego on my Instagram, right? Because you suggested having Instagram, or somebody did, to keep yourself accountable. And I just kept it. So Gertie's Calligraphy it was, except I was doing it on the side. So it's a lot of friends and family and, that kind of thing. And everybody's been very supportive. And it was always a thought like, oh, this would be great to do full time. And after I see all of you, doing it and I think, well, someday. And so my husband and I talked about that, like someday we'll do this. And we had a little plan. Well, we moved last year, which kept me the commute to my current position. My current job I was there for 8 years and the commute was just ridiculous. So I got another job. I was there for not even 3 months because of the toxic situation. Ooh. I would come home every day. We had another talk and he said, just quit. And because I was miserable and it was just not, and we're like, we'll figure it out. We'll find another job, whatever. And so I just made the decision to, instead of later, to try this full-time now. So Shinah, as you and I have discussed, that's not a flip the switch thing. You don't just immediately get clients. So right now I'm doing kind of, I pick up accounting jobs as they come up, temporary contract positions, just to, offset the lack of income. But I'm getting jobs. So the more effort I'm able to put into it, the more time, I feel more creative. Like I can think about things and create things and spend the time to, actually make them. So tomorrow I have a market that I'm going to be at. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I'm going to want to do one again, but I've never done one. So when the opportunity came up, I jumped at it. So that's my goal right now. Just, I think Jane said, just try everything because now I have the time to. If something starts at 4, I'm not at work. I can do that. So that's what I'm doing now. So that's where we're at, and we'll see how it works. And I have no timeline set to it. I'm just going to see, work as hard as I can at it, and we'll see.
Yeah. I love that each of you, I mean, I think maybe Shaochen is in her 3rd year, that's maybe, but like, you're all like in different stages. And it just like reminds me of my own journey where, yeah, for the first 2 solid years into the third, I had other jobs to supplement because it's a lot to put on your like fledgling business to, you know, get clients and support you right away. But I'm so happy that you're doing it, Laura. Oh my God. Yeah, that someday, like until it kind of smacks you like, wait a minute, maybe today is
It's
that's
better be
amazing.
miserable every day. And that was not an option.
And you don't know if you have someday.
Right.
None of us do, right? Okay, amazing. All right, so these are all, okay, very different, well, very similar stories in a lot of ways. And I find a lot of myself in there. Different kind of some different markets, different stages of business. I did want to ask a couple just questions, and we'll just do this like popcorn style. So if you want to respond, you can just unmute yourself, so we don't have to go around every single time. But some of you kind of touched on this, but before you started calligraphy, like what was your perception of being like actually making a living doing calligraphy, like being a professional calligrapher? What was your view on that? Anyone who wants to jump in?
I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't even think I was going to be able to do calligraphy to begin with. But there's some very heavy hitters in the calligraphy world in my city. I'm in Ottawa, Canada, that have been doing this for a long time, that have huge audiences. So like I was afraid that there wasn't, I lacked the confidence at the beginning. I didn't think that there was enough room for me to play in the same sandbox as the other calligraphers. But I just had to be confident in the fact that, yes, there's other calligraphers, but they're not me. We don't have the same style. And I focused on that. So that's what, like, the people that come to me, they come to me for my style. And actually some of these other calligraphers, when they get requests of clients that are looking for my style, they send them my way. So yeah, I didn't think that I could do it. I didn't have the confidence in myself, really.
Yeah.
I'll go. So a calligraphy business was not something that like crossed my mind at all when I started learning calligraphy. So I have terrible handwriting. It's very embarrassing, actually. So I didn't think that my calligraphy would be any good. But I think from taking the first couple of classes, I realized that was something that kind of came to me naturally. I think as a child, I actually learned Chinese calligraphy with like a traditional brush and stuff. So maybe there was some muscle memory in there that helped me when I picked up like a brush pen and pointed pen. But I remember one of the classes that I had taken in January of 2019. So before I took your class, Shinah, it was like an in-person class. The first time I picked up pointed pen, it was with my teacher, Queenie of Traveling Calligrapher, and she was awesome. And I remember her being like, I think I was looking at some invitation suites she created that she had like brought to the class. And I remember her just being like, oh yeah, if you have any questions about starting a business, just like, let me know, feel free to reach out. And I remember just thinking like, wow, that seems so far away. Like, no way I could start a business. Like that thought did not even cross my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then little did I know, 2 months later, I left my job. So, and I feel like at that point, you know, that's when those little seeds that were planted kind of started sprouting and being like, oh wait, maybe why couldn't this be a business? Like I've wanted to have my own business for a really long time. That's actually been like a dream of mine, but I didn't know what it would look like. And so when I started taking calligraphy, it kind of opened up this path for me that was like, well, it could look like this. And, you know, the great thing about calligraphy is it doesn't have a ton of like fixed costs, startup costs. Like you don't have to buy a ton of inventory or have machinery or anything like that. And so you can actually get started as a business pretty easily, you know? And so at that point, it was kind of like a why not situation for me, but I had never really thought about it before that.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay, yeah, I'm exactly the same as everyone else said so far. I didn't have the confidence. I thought I was doomed to be a teacher for the rest of my life. I've been told so many times it's a safe profession, you're never going to lose your job. that's why you should stay in it. It'll always be there for you. You'll get a good pension and all of that kind of stuff. And actually, I never really loved it. And I knew that I never really loved it, but I just carried on anyway. So I just felt that was all I was worth, and that was it. And I had to be a teacher, and that was final. But there was always a seed that I wanted to do something else. And then I started learning calligraphy, and I was thinking, this could be nice. And I just had this moment when I was like, imagine making money out of this that is like the most relaxing thing you could ever do in your entire life. And imagine somebody telling you that you could actually do that for a living. So I started doing like little things like in the evenings and whatever. And then I bought some of those little ornaments, Christmas ornaments. I've spoken to Shinah about this before, and she's like, they're not baubles. We call them baubles in the UK. So
yeah, we might not know what that is in the US. So
yeah.
Christmas ornaments.
Christmas ornaments. There we go. Christmas decorations. So I bought some, and then I ended up needing to buy more because I kept on selling them, and I sold like 100 that year, and I started learning in the September, and that was the November, and it just sort of it carried on, and it was like little by little I started to kind of branch out a little bit further and do more things, and then I was like, oh, I can do this. But then actually it was after that all of the real confidence was needed. I read a lot of women in business books, and it really worked through all of that on my mindset, and because actually you can't really sell stuff well until you believe in what you're selling. And so but also when it's your only income, you have to believe about it pretty damn quickly, because if you don't, you're not going to sell anything. So I knew that I had to force myself to have a better mindset. And then as soon as that happened, it all sort of, it's all fallen into place since then, I'd say, really.
Yeah. Oh my God. Amazing. You came to that pretty quickly. I feel like it took me a while to realize that it's not the strategy and the tactics and the step-by-step. You need that. But the mindset is under all of it.
But I would say more, I think it's become more apparent over the last year or two. I think globally, I think there's been a big shift in women's mindsets about what their worth is and what they deserve. And I think all of that has contributed to me knowing quickly that the way to get anywhere in life is to kind of beat the men at it, and and be more confident and be a bit more arrogant about what you can do, and put yourself out there, and it works. So read books as well.
Amazing.
So I didn't know calligraphy could be a business. Like I said, I had no idea. And I think Melissa, still struggle often with I'm not good enough, because you compare yourself to everyone on Instagram and everyone I follow that I love. And, and you have to remember that you're different, and, you have to like reset it, right? A lot. And so I just had to get that out there, because it keeps coming back.
Yeah.
So you'll see something and you're like, well, I'm not Suzanne Cunningham, so I cannot.
None of us are Suzanne Cunningham.
Look like that. Right. That's what I'm saying. So I think that, and then I agree, Jane, that and Shinah, we've chatted about this a little bit. Your worth is, especially like for me, 20 years in a career is a lot. So just to leave it is a lot, and your worth is tied into that money. And so when that money's gone, it's a different kind of stress, and it's just, and it's fine. It's all fine, but it's at the same time, you're like, but it's not the same, we're fine. But, so I have to, reset that every once in a while and be like, no, you're happier, and it's all fine. And like you said, you get to write pretty things all day long, and people love them. So.
Yeah. Oh no, but thank you so much for sharing that. Because let's not be tricksy here about the fairy tale that once you become a calligrapher, all of your life's problems are solved and go away and you're happy forever inside your brain. No. You take all the shit with you, and it's just now you're playing itself out in your own business. So that's why the mindset stuff is important. That's why actually I think having a community and having people to lean on and people to like mentor you is really important as well. And then one other thing I'm picking up here is because I felt this too, like, no way I could have a business. And I didn't even know calligraphy was a thing. And how do you even do a business? Discounting the fact that every single one of us had like these careers where we had major skills that we had to build up and learn and deploy. And we didn't think any of that was going to come with us into figuring out a business, right? Like you take all that and you figure it out. Like business really is like, you're not born into it. And there are some people who are like, I'm a born entrepreneur and I've been selling my used socks since I was 3. And then there are a lot of other people who just, you figure it out step by step along the way, and the resources are out there to do it. Okay, so I want to ask just one quick, maybe we can go around. How have you changed as a person before finding calligraphy to now? What would you say is like the major thing that has changed?
Oh my gosh, I'll take this one first. The happiness. So I used to wake up every morning and say, I don't wanna, literally say, don't wanna, everything I want to do, have to do today, don't wanna. I don't say that anymore because I do whatever I want. And so, in fact, I think I did mention this to you, Shinah. I had a bit of a freak out over left my job. Oh my God, I'm crazy. Why did I do that? And my husband patiently listened. And then he said, but you're so much happier. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I am. So moving on with life, freak out, move on. And, so that would be it. Just much happier. I control what I want to do, exploring all the things I want to do, see what fits right. Like Jane said, what fits into, your, what you want your business to be. And I'm still figuring that out. So
yeah. Your husband sounds amazing, by the way. So supportive. That's
Yes.
awesome. That's cool. Does anybody else want to chime in?
So for me, I guess I'm same like Laura. I'm definitely happier, but I don't define myself by what I do anymore. I've fallen in love with being me again, but also I'm proving to myself every day that sorry, I don't want to cry. My MS is not who I am, is just what I have. And I can still create a life that I'm truly happy and full of joy, and still make something I'm proud of, even with this illness. I could wake up tomorrow and not be able to see anymore, or not be able to speak or walk, or I never know what tomorrow is going to be with my kind of illness. But I enjoy the ride right now. And I keep, at the beginning, I was like, I'm proving to my son that, with my big challenge, I'm still able to create something, but truly I'm proving it to myself. And I think I needed that. So yeah, that's kind of it. My life changed a whole lot. So.
Oh God, thank you for sharing that, Melissa. Who wants to follow that?
I did last time, so Jane, you go. Can't follow Melissa twice.
I mean, it's probably not as groundbreaking as that, but I think in a different way, I can definitely identify with that whole kind of life-changing, seeing yourself completely differently. I think a profession, I was teaching for 14 years and I got to sort of leadership level and was really into the whole teaching, properly into a teaching career. And it did feel like you were saying it totally defines you. Like, I'm a teacher, like it's a big, teachers are a bit different to most people. If you've ever met any teachers, there's definitely something about them that kind of sets them apart from other people, not always in the best way either. But it's a definite, it's a big job, and you feel like that's all you can do and it's all you are, and you don't actually have time to do or be anything else anyway. And then sort of leaving that helped me to really realize how much other stuff I was missing out on. And being able to have a job that I really, really love gives me more headspace to then really make the most of lots of other things that I've been missing out on. I've been sort of a lot more active in a more, like, I guess, like local things that have been happening near to me, local politics, national politics. You know, I feel like I have, it's not very nice to think about all of that either here at the moment, but at least, you know, I have some more headspace to think more about what interests me and what's important to me. And it is genuinely life-changing. But also, you know, you were saying you falling in love with who you are again. Like I know who I am, and I know what my passions are, and I'm not afraid to be passionate about things anymore. And I get to wake up every morning and like Laura was saying, I love my job. I love doing what I do. Like, it's so much fun. And I can do what I want. And then, you know, every time I get a new order, instead of me going, oh God, I've got another thing to do, I'm like, oh yippee, I get to make another one of those. Or, you know, I get to create something again, or I get to make somebody else happy. And that's huge. Yeah. And also, like, tend to get a lot of compliments when you make nice things for people. It's really good for your self-esteem. Like, you know, I used to teach teenagers. They were like tricky customers. I get a lot more praise these days, that's for sure. So yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Generally feel pretty good.
Love it. Love it.
I feel like I echo a lot of like what I heard. It really has to do with like, I feel like I'm a different person than when I was like working in corporate or the startup world. I think for me, learning calligraphy helped me like believe that I could create something from scratch and bring it into the world and create value. And not to think, you know, I did believe that I had value before, but just like it's a different level when you are literally taking your, like I hit 6 figures last year. So I built a 6-figure business.
Oh my God.
Thank you. From nothing was there before, you know, and that feeling is so empowering. Like, I'm sure Shinah, like, you've built like an empire, like I'm sure you can relate, right? Like, just like something from nothing is such a cool feeling. Like I mentioned, I had always kind of wanted my own small business for a couple of years before I started, but everyone around me being in the Bay Area was doing tech startups. That was what the small businesses look like. And they all had like VC funding, and they all had, you know, I didn't want to have any part of that. I didn't want to do fundraising. I didn't want to do a business in tech. And so I think this just like really opened up this whole world of opportunities and ideas to me that I didn't really see anybody else around me doing. Like, I didn't know any other small business owners at the time. Now, luckily, I've gotten to connect with a lot of people, and, you know, in the community, in the wedding community, in the calligrapher community, who have small businesses, and it feels a lot more like the norm to me than it did before. But it's like you said, Shinah, like I didn't see that was a possibility for me. And I think making that transition from being like a leader in tech to being a calligrapher, that was like a huge identity shift. You know, there was just a lot of like, what's everyone else going to think about me? And so in the first like 6 months to a year, I don't know that it was entirely imposter syndrome. It was just like me getting in my head about what other people were thinking about me. I guess that is imposter syndrome, but I think there was just a lot of like part of my identity when I was working for somebody else, constantly being like, what do my reports think of me? What does my boss think of me? What does everybody else think of me? And now it's like, I am my own boss. I call the shots, which is awesome. And so I can really like, it's like everyone else was saying, like, I kind of feel like I can realize my true self, like who I am, my identity, like really lean into that and not worry so much about what everyone else that is working around me is like thinking about me. So it definitely has been a big shift.
Yeah. So like life-changing on all fronts. I'm with you. Totally with you. Okay. And I just got to say, you know, I've been talking about calligraphy and the potential and what you can do with it for a long time. And 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, you know, 6 months ago, I get messages, but isn't it saturated? Isn't it too late? But there's no more room, right? There's already people out there. And look. Okay. So you can believe that there's no room, or you can just kind of go out there and start it, and something will happen. It might not be exactly what you planned, but that's actually a magical, beautiful thing. So I just want to thank you all so much for coming on and sharing your precious time to just open up possibilities for people. I do want to share, I want each of you to share where people can find you, if you have something that you want to share with the audience, that they can go download or whatever. So maybe we'll start with Laura this time and go around.
You can find me on Instagram at Gertie's Calligraphy, Facebook, TikTok. Still trying to figure out TikTok. I don't know. I had one video hit like 20,000. I was like, yay. And then every other one's like 10. What? Yeah. I don't know. Don't care either. And my website. I did just recently open a shop. So there's a lot of items to shop for people. Yeah, and that's it.
Nice. Jane?
Sorry. So I'm the Oxford Calligrapher. So my handle is at the Oxford Calligrapher. Instagram. I have a Facebook page and a website too. On my website, there's quite a few lovely little bits and gifty pieces. And I also have a kids calligraphy kit that I've created that is for that I've got as a like a hard copy version of it in a lovely box, or you can get it digitally as well. And yeah, come and find me.
Wonderful. Awesome. Shaochen?
So you can find me on Instagram. My handle's at Monstera, like the plant, monstera.gold. And then for calligraphers who are interested in more of like the business side, or like turning your hobby into a business, you can find me at calligraphyceo.com. You can subscribe to my newsletter there. And then I also have a course that I think by the time you're watching this, I'll have a promo on it. So you can go to proweddingcalligrapher.com and find more information about my course.
Awesome. Awesome. Melissa?
Yes, so I'm at Chronic Letters on Instagram. Website is chronicletters.com. And linked in my Instagram bio, there's a resource for really newbie calligraphers, just basically helping you kind of make that first sale. So it's a PDF, so it talks about mindset, some do's and don'ts, and then some I go every month of okay, January, you can here are some ideas of what you can kind of market, or also start thinking about for coming down the line. And also there's over 100 different project ideas that you can do with calligraphy in there. So I've got that. And also for the custom jewelry, I'm at We Are Moving Mountains all together on Instagram. So
wow. Okay. All right. And we'll make sure to put links to Instagram handles and everything, all the stuff that was mentioned, wherever we post this video. And y'all, if you're thinking about calligraphy, every one of these students went through either Modern Calligraphy 101, Modern Calligraphy 201, or both. And for everyone who's ever thought, wow, it would be really cool to do that, but it must be impossible, I have 4 people with me who are doing it, just from one teacher, 4 people. And this is not everybody. I think there are more among our students who are doing it. So I just, again, want to raise that level of possibility. And even if your dream is not to go full-time or have this be your main profession, what amazing things there could be on the way to that. Amazing things. So if you're interested in Modern Calligraphy 101 or 201, I will put a link, where I post this video for you to check that out. And mostly I just wanted to say thank you to all of these women, and I'm so proud of you, and you're doing a bang up job, and I can't wait to feature you and just keep bragging about you. So thank you so, so much.